I am Cynthia Bailey.
I'm Crystal Minkoff. This is Humble Brag.
Can't wait for you guys to find out how we actually came together.
We live a life that we think it's normal. And then when you actually say it out loud, it's kind of ridiculous.
You and your 14 friends
That's
who
right.
I think you were with. What is wrong with her? Like, who does that?
I probably would have said no had I known how much we got paid.
Once a housewife, always a housewife.
I am going to kill them with kindness.
My only superpower is that I'm not a threat ever.
I didn't drink the first 2 seasons.
Are you insane?
I don't think it's a wonder why we ended up here.
I will always say long story short, but I can never tell a story short.
People would call me the Cynthia of Beverly Hills.
You're welcome. I started the Cynthia Bailey movement.
I want to know your origin story about House.
We have so much tea coming up on the next one.
Humble Brag Pod.
Humble brag.
Humble Brag.
Humble brag.
Braggy, humbly.
You can check out Crystal and Cynthia's new show, Humble Brag, every Monday. It's dropping the 21st of October this Monday, so you'll be sure to check it out. So go right now and subscribe to their show. It's going to be wacky, wild, and fun. I cannot wait for y'all to listen to it.
You're crazy.
Gypsy, Ken, welcome to the Viall Files.
Thank
Oh,
you.
welcome back for Gypsy.
Thank you.
It's so good to see you again.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah, absolutely. How, I mean, I feel like it's a loaded question, but how's life been?
Busy and
I-
excited. Definitely full.
Yes, yes. Last time we saw you, Natalie was 9 months pregnant.
Mhm.
I was close. I was like 8 months pregnant. So
Yeah.
the roles have
Yeah,
very much
reversed now.
reversed. It's crazy. How are you feeling pregnancy wise?
I'm feeling good. My first and second trimester was actually really easy.
Okay.
I had no morning sickness, which I was blessed to, not have that. But now that I'm kind of going into the third trimester, now I'm just starting to get slower.
Yep.
And now I feel like it's harder to sleep and get comfortable. And she kicks all the time.
Oh, do you know that? So you know the gender?
Yes, it's a girl.
Congratulations.
It's a girl.
Oh, wow, how
Yeah.
cute. Yes.
Oh, girl mom.
Ken, how are you?
I'm feeling good.
You're feeling good. Congratulations to you as
Thank
well.
you. Yeah,
How
thank
does
you.
it feel to be about to be a new dad?
I mean, it's exciting. It's a little bit nerve-wracking too, being a first-time parent. But honestly, like I think the excitement overwhelms like the the nervousness.
Yeah.
But I mean, as the months tick down, we're just a few months away, and honestly, I couldn't be more thrilled. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
And you're how far along?
I'm 25 weeks so
Okay.
far.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's exciting. Obviously, the last time we were with you, different situation. You
Mhm.
were in a different relationship. A lot's happened.
Mhm.
Even on that episode, Ken got brought up a little bit. Listen, we didn't know, Ken.
We didn't know.
She just
It's okay,
she had just gotten out. We figured, Gypsy needed some time to figure things out.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to watch the documentary,
Mm.
and that essentially kind of ended when you entered into the picture, so to speak. And I guess let's start there, kind of where, I'm hoping to kind of have a nice little conversation about kind of how everything has been since we last saw you. So I guess, Ken, how did you enter back into the picture when Gypsy got out of prison? Did you watch our episode with Gypsy when you got brought up? Were you kind of out there kind of feeling a certain way? And then what prompted you to reach back out and start this beautiful relationship back up?
well, I think at first I had seen her Lifetime doc, Prison Confessions, where she talked about me like towards the end and like displayed some feelings about our separation and talked about how it ended. And it wasn't fully accurate. So like it kind of broke my heart to see her cry and see her have this description of how our relationship ended. It made me just want to like set the record straight and like let her know like what the real reasons were at the time. I mean, this is going back 5 years ago. And so that kind of like prompted me to reach out. But it was more just like, hey, I'm happy to see you out. I'm happy to see you smiling. I'm happy to see you thriving. I wish you the best. And that was like the initial point of contact.
I guess, can you bring us back up to speed in terms of what did Gypsy say about the ending of that relationship, and what did you feel wasn't accurate?
She had just said that like I had just like left her because like the media attention was just too much. and like all the like the fame behind it, like articles and whatnot, kind of scared me away, and that just wasn't accurate. That wasn't true. I thought that this air was clear at the time, but I realized that it wasn't. So I wanted to set it straight and let her realize, or let her know that like when we had separated 5 years ago, it was because a lot of people had been reaching out to me at the time, like big name people and just hundreds of regular people across social media, just like telling me that like, you need to allow her to have this journey of self-discovery and not give her another form of codependency, having been through so much and never really living her life on her own, that, she should allow her this time to get through her sentence and just allow her to build this self-identity. And that really like hit home with me. And I felt that to be true. So that was the reason why we had separated.
That makes sense.
How was that for you, Gypsy, to hear that that was his reasoning instead of what you thought?
That was very emotional. He didn't tell it to me. I learned about this through Christy. So Christy had told this, everything to him, and then relayed that back to me in a FaceTime call. And immediately I started crying. Like the emotions came up, and I felt like all that resentment that I was carrying for all those years, because obviously I was displaying that in the last time that I was here. So, to learn that everything that I had based my, opinions on of him was all not true. And so, it really touches your heart when you realize that that was a sacrifice that he made on his part, putting his own feelings aside and doing what was best for me at the time.
Mm-hmm. And can you take us back to how y'all even met in the first place? Did you write to her? How did y'all meet?
Yeah, so I saw her original documentary by Aaron Lee Carr, Mommy Dead and Dearest, and it was an unusual feeling I'd never really felt before. But after watching it, I just felt so much compassion and like a lot of sympathy for what she had gone through. It was such a unique and unreal situation and case. So I wrote her. I was 24 at the time. This is back in early 2017. And I wrote her just a letter of just saying, hey, listen, like I saw your story. I want you to know that people out here, myself, we support you, and I hope that you're doing all right and wish you the best, and just wanted to, write you a letter and just let you know that you have supporters out here. And it was just like a one-off send. I didn't expect to hear back from her. And then I did. And then we just kind of started writing each other on the regular. Again, something that I've never done before or since then. Writing letters is so interesting. But we really had a lot to talk about. We had a lot in common, a lot of interests, like-minded interests, things that were going on in our lives. I feel like it was really easy for me to just let the walls down and just like tell her about my life as it was going, hear about how her life was going, and we established a great friendship just off of that.
Yeah.
And then 4 months
there was
later.
at the beginning there was no it wasn't like I wrote her because like I was looking for a relationship or interested in anything like that. It turned romantic. The first time I met her, which was in September of that year, is when like I realized I really like you a lot. Like we actually have a lot in common. The chemistry was crazy. And I think I'm very self-aware to like how strange that looks to like the regular world. But the way I've always said it is that, you can't decide how you feel about somebody. And it was great.
Yeah. Well, speaking about you can't decide how you feel about someone, confession. When we were with you last time and you got brought up, with all due respect to your ex, I couldn't help but wonder if you still like had a flame for Ken in that room. I didn't want to say it, obviously, but it just, the way...
I didn't feel that at all.
I felt the opposite. It very much hurt my feelings. So.
Yeah, no, I imagine, but it just felt like, I talked to a lot of people who are going through breakups and relationships, and it just felt like, there was...
Unfinished business?
You felt put it this way, you weren't indifferent about the guy. And I guess it just comes down, they say, what is the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And it didn't feel like you were indifferent about Ken. And so if that makes you feel that was just my vibe. That was my vibe.
Yes.
We can move on.
I was holding, resentment, but it's kind of like, because I went on this belief that he had left me and I was brokenhearted. And so I held that resentment. But at the same time, I still loved him in my heart. And so it was torn. My heart was torn.
I imagine, obviously, since you've been out, I think I heard you say something like the internet is like hell, or
It is.
It is.
Yeah,
No, it is.
it is.
And you'll get no argument from us. But obviously, and Nelly and I do our best to stay off the internet and not read things about us. It can be far more easier said than done. I imagine you guys try to stay off as well, but specifically, I guess Ken too. I mean, I'm sure you are aware of the criticisms when you got back. Oh, it's like, oh, of course he's coming back now, things like that. How do you deal with that? And I guess what would you say to, any of the critics who, still have Gypsy in mind and worried about Gypsy and want to see her kind of figure herself out and say, Ken, this is too soon. What are you doing? Like, what would you say to that?
Well, the first part of that is, or the first part to your question is, as far as like the internet goes, like we do stay off of it too, like for the most part, or it's changed a lot over the last few months. I think in the beginning, I did want to go and like read comments a lot, and a part of me wanted to be defensive and think that I could just clear the air and just like set records straight, but that's just not really how the internet works. And I think I've learned,
you can never fight with
I've
the
learned
internet.
that lesson now. It's like once they've made up their mind, it's like truth doesn't even matter. It's irrelevant. Speculation and drama is where it's at. So I mean, I don't read the Reddit pages anymore, or the comments really anymore, or even respond to them. So I just kind of just focus on like the real world, like just our everyday life, and that's how I retain like my happiness and our happiness.
Very smart.
So once you guys got back together, how when did things go from all right, because you came back in kind of as a friend. It seems like things move quickly because it's like the heart wants what the heart wants. But what conversations did you guys have early on about making this and really going for this and trying a romantic relationship out again?
I mean, honestly, I think for me, it was, recognizing that where my heart was. And I had to realize and that like doing something for myself felt very wrong. And following my heart just seemed like a selfish thing to do. And I had a really good conversation with my stepmom, Christy, and she told me that, after so many years of not being able to make my own choices and put myself first, that I should make a choice for myself. And, even though I wasn't really sure where his viewpoint of it was going to be, I had to make a choice for the heart. And so that is when I'm like, okay, I realize where my heart is. I don't want to stay with someone just because they're happy. I need to be happy too.
Yeah.
And I think the selfish thing would have been to stay in a relationship and not let Ryan move on. So I ended the marriage, filed for divorce, and then that's when Ken and I reconnected after the fact. As friends, we had a weekend together to see kind of where are we with this. It was our first time actually having any outside of prison time. And we realized that flame, that love, everything is still there. And so he came back to visit a month later. And that's essentially the weekend that we got pregnant.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
I've heard it's easier for women to get pregnant if they're more in love.
Really?
Did you make that up?
I believe
No,
it.
I didn't hear it from a doctor. I want to make that clear. But it makes sense, right? The more more connected you feel.
That's the first I've heard that. That's interesting though.
I bet there's some science behind it. I don't know. I guess, again, when we first talked to you, you had literally just gotten out of prison. And so a lot of our questions were centered around, what did you do in prison? Who are you hanging out with? What have you been up to? I mean, like, what has life been like? If you could put yourself back to where your mindset was when you first got out, I guess, how have you changed as a person in this past 9 months? Because I imagine maybe a lot.
I have changed a lot. I've had a lot of life experience packed into 10 months. And a lot of people say, oh, take your time. And I meant to. I really meant to take my time. But it was kind of like that urge to just want to do everything all at once. And so I think by having those experiences, it has kind of shaped me in a way that I have gained some maturity in certain aspects. For me, I try to stay focused on what I am going to be doing on a daily to make sure I don't get too ahead of myself. Plan for the now, enjoy the now, appreciate the now. Because I think in the first few weeks of me being out of prison, I kind of hit the ground running and I didn't have time to savor it in.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing now. And of course, I've been working on my book. So I've been writing my memoir. We finished filming our Lifetime series. I want to say, I think it was in May.
Okay.
And then now we're currently filming again for a second season. And so we picked that up. And so, again, the roller coaster ride begins.
What did you guys do for your first official date?
So like that first weekend that we reconnected was the very first weekend of April. And we were a little crazy and decided to go get a matching tattoo.
I saw those on
Yes.
there. Can we bring those out?
The
Yeah.
matching tattoo.
Which I realized in hindsight was a little like reckless, but like in the moment there was just so much like in the moment there was just so much excitement and just like I mean, we were just going crazy a little bit, just happy to be with each other again. And like that first weekend that we met back up, it wasn't to like necessarily get back together. It was just to kind of see, okay, let's see how this weekend goes. Like, let's just meet up as friends and just see where the weekend takes us. And then that love flame got reignited for sure. And we realized like the chemistry is still there and we do have a lot in common and we still have a great time together. There's never a dull moment. So, I mean, the tattoos were a little wild, but
Whose
definitely-
idea was it?
That was mine.
Now, do they make a heart if you put them together?
We didn't actually put that together until
Oh.
after the fact.
yeah.
So I went looking on like Pinterest for cute husky tattoos. And I kept, seeing these very elaborate ones. I didn't want something that big. So I have 3 tattoos. So I have one on this arm, and one on my back.
Okay.
And they're all like outline tattoos. So I really like that style. So I found the huskies on Pinterest and like mine's a little different. Mine has a small little design on the side of it that makes it a little bit more
Oh,
feminine.
yeah. Let me see. Roll your sleeve up.
See, I have
Oh, okay.
that makes it a little more feminine.
Okay.
Let's
And
see
so
this
he
here.
And then mine is
doesn't.
just
They're
that
not
without
matching.
without
They're
the
not
extra.
similar.
They're
tattoos.
similar.
They're the exact same
Yes.
minus this little
Yes.
side
That was
design.
too girly.
And honestly, if you were gonna have them matching together, you would have gotten on different arms because
Right,
otherwise,
right.
so.
Yeah, because I had to like hold my arm over
Yeah.
hers. To
you
get
really have to cuddle.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, obviously, I think it's safe to say the pregnancy was unexpected and unplanned.
Very much so. I did not expect the pregnancy at all. I mean, obviously there was some physical symptoms that came about around that time, and then I had taken a test and it came back positive. I was very shocked. At first, I was looking at it and I ran into the living room and I'm like, Christy, what does this say? Because I wanted confirmation that
You weren't
I
crazy.
wasn't
Yeah.
crazy. So,
Yeah.
and then I FaceTimed with him and I told him, and how did you feel? In that
Yeah, how
moment?
was-
Like, how was that?
Because I gotta say, my reaction.
Awful. Terrible.
Terrible.
We'll never talk about it. We'll
Yeah.
never show the video. It's so
Oh.
bad.
Yeah. How was yours?
Well, I want to hear about yours for a second. I mean, I was like getting ready for work. It was very shocking. I think my jaw just dropped. I was like, oh my God, like for real. Like, have you taken more than one test? Like, are we sure about
I took
this?
2.
She took 2. So I think that just like this realization just hit me like, holy shit. Like, I'm sorry. I don't mean to
You
swear.
can
Yeah,
but,
say
like,
it,
yeah,
okay.
please.
But I was like, I can't believe it. Like, that's crazy. I mean, I think that like I would agree with the sentiment that yes, it was very much too soon. But at the same time, like it's a child. It's a blessing. I mean, like I think I had like a whole cocktail of emotions in that moment, and I think I needed a minute to process. I mean, even after the initial shock, I was like, let me call you back in like 10 minutes. I just need to like just walk around and like breathe for a minute and realize like, holy hell, this is happening.
Yeah, no,
but
it's,
like not like in a negative way, you
well,
know, but just like,
And I
you
do
know.
want
It's a
to
lot, yeah.
clarify when
Yeah.
Natalie says my response was terrible. It was just not. She wanted to do. She kind of set it up because we weren't like, it wasn't like we were not trying. We were just more like,
Let's see. I don't know.
Yeah.
we had
What
heard
happens?
how so many of our friends had a hard time getting pregnant. You hear all those stories. We're like, you know what? I don't even know if boys can swim. It was more like,
Right.
you
I thought the
you get
exact same
older, you're
thing,
kind of like,
honestly.
I don't know. It's not, and
Right.
and then Natalie had set up this. She's like, let's let's show people one of our recipes. And I was like, oh, okay. And I got really excited about it. So I got really into it. And then I
like
opened
too into it.
Yeah.
Like he was like, all right, stop the camera. I'm like, no, we'll just keep it rolling. We'll show this part. He's like, no, it's fine. Let's cut it off. I'm like, no, please open the drawer now. We'll keep it rolling.
And then there's this pregnancy test. And I just kind of was like, froze. And then I realized that she was recording and I got really self-conscious and I was like, turn this off. So the video, I just look shell-shocked. Quickly after, I was very excited. But yeah, I mean, I think for guys, is someone even like in terms of being a dad, is that something you always wanted for yourself?
Sure, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, like I think I've always wanted like that American dream of like married, the kids and the house and all that. You know, that's like my life goal.
Yeah.
But you know, like I think that it was definitely unplanned and unexpected. So like it just kind of hits you.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of my point. Even if you're planning on it, when it happens, you're like, is this real? Like you never really imagine it. Once the shock wore off, what conversations did you guys have in terms of, you know, what are you guys going to do? Because obviously, you know, bringing a child in this world moves things very quickly. Whether you want to go slow or not, you have to start obviously considering someone else, your child, even before yourselves. How did you guys deal with that pressure?
Well, I know for me, you know, the excitement was there, all those emotions were there, but the conversations that were had afterwards was more about the technical things. So I am still living with my parents in Cutoff, which is an hour away from him. So we're like, and I'm going to be living there until I'm off of parole. So we're like, okay, how is this going to work whenever the baby's born? Like, how many days can I spend with you? And how many days can you spend with me? You know, who will she be with? As you know, we're going back and forth and we're doing kind of essentially co-parenting, even though we are together. But
are you restricted? Like in terms of your parole, what are your restrictions that you have to abide by?
The standard. I mean, there's basically just standard ones, you know, travel permissions and stuff like that. So my current residence is established with my parents. And that's one of those things. So having that restriction in particular poses an issue. And so that is something that we had talked about extensively. And also, I mean, this is a new relationship in a sense. Even though we have a history behind our relationship and a foundation, we're just getting back together after a 5-year separation. And so it's like, I've grown, he's grown. Who are we now? And it's kind of like the weekend that we had together, it was magical. But in a sense, it was a honeymoon phase all over again. Yeah. So it's kind of like, I need to know how you react to conflict. What are your parenting goals? What are your parenting skills? Like, you know, what are your thoughts for the future? Those are all really significant conversations that couples usually have, you know, well into a year of their relationship. And here we are a month in and we're already pregnant. So those were really serious conversations we needed to have. And also, I never wanted to make him feel like he is stuck with me. That is not what I want. I'm like, I want you to be with me because you are happy in this relationship. You want this relationship. Just because we have a child together does not mean you're obligated to stay with me. There are lots of options for us. You know, if you don't want this child, I will be the mother. That is my responsibility. That's your choice if you want to show up.
To the critics who struggle with you having a daughter, what is your response to that? Like, what, do you say you aren't ready or say, whatever? I'm sure they have a long list. What is your response to them?
I mean, finding out that I'm going to be a new mother, that is not something that I don't think anybody could honestly say I am ready for. Maybe few are, but when it happens, you're kind of like, gosh, am I really ready for this right now? I don't have concerns of any kind that my trauma from the past will affect my ability to parent.
Okay.
I have a lot of great women in my life. I have my stepmother, Christy. I have friends. His mother. I'm very close with his mother. So I have all these strong women.
Your sister. She
Yes, my
seems like a
sister.
very
She and she is she's graduating nursing school in December.
Oh, wonderful.
And so she's specializing in labor and delivery.
Wow.
So,
there you
know, I
go.
have a lot of these wonderful women figures in my life to help guide me. So if I have any questions, I can
Mhm.
just go to them.
Okay,
How did
good.
it feel, Ken, when Gypsy came to you and said, you know, exactly what she said in terms of in what capacity she wanted you in her life?
Well, like going back to that moment of like when we realized we were pregnant, like for me, it was like, okay, well, it's time to buckle down now and get prepared to, or start to prepare to be a father. So at the time I was living in Dallas, I was living in a house. I had a full-time job that I had been at for over 2 years. And I realized that, well, you know, it's time to move. You know, I need to be in Louisiana to be as close to her as possible, to get her, to, you know, so we can be together to get through this process. You know, I don't want to just leave her alone to handle a first-time pregnancy. I left my job. I had to break my lease, and I packed all my stuff, and I moved to New Orleans to start a new life here. And I've been happy ever since. I mean, yeah, the parole is a little bit tricky, you know. So we, like she said, we can't live together, and
You're legally not allowed to.
legally not allowed to.
How long are you on parole for?
Until June of next year.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not that
And there's
bad.
no exceptions for the fact that you're having children together?
There's no exception for that.
What if you got, and not to add any
Yep.
pressure, but what if you got married?
Then we could.
Then we could.
Technically,
Then
we
we could.
could.
Okay.
So
And I'm assuming those are conversations you guys deliberated over.
We talk about it for
Yeah.
sure.
I have my own opinion about that, which I have shared.
Can you
I,
share it with us?
I don't like having those conversations.
Okay.
Number one, I'm still going through the divorce, which will be finalized sometime this month.
Okay.
However, I'm not the type of person to say, okay, just because we're having a child means you have to marry me. I'm not the type of person to tell you how to live your life. Like, I don't want to be that person to say, you will marry me. You will, I will move in with you. He has his own life. And if he wants to marry me, he will propose. He will make his own decisions based on what he wants to do. So I don't put my input in.
Okay. So you moved to New Orleans. You got a new job. You got a new place. How is it being so close to her?
It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, she's only an hour away, so we get to spend a lot of time together. And we get 2 days a week. She's allowed to stay at my house, and then the other 5, she's got to be back home.
Okay. That's not bad.
So yeah, it's not too bad. And like I said, it's only an hour drive, so it's not that crazy. And I think the only part that I'm most worried about is in January when the baby's born. Obviously, we'll still have 5 months left of parole, so that's going to be really tricky co-parenting with this with these restrictions. But
Well, I will give you a little bit of encouragement there. Are you planning on breastfeeding?
I am.
Okay.
I'll
you
have all
can
the
help.
bottles. backed up, or-
You can wash the bottles, you can wash
Sure.
the pumps, but
Yeah.
like for the first, 5 months, that's you and that baby are really you're just
Connected.
some extra hands that can help. But Gypsy is really all that baby really needs for the while.
Well,
so
yeah, I mean, but at the same time, like I want to be there for her to get her through those,
of course.
like, constant interruptions throughout the night, having to wake
Oh,
up,
right.
and like just she's being her being a first time mother. I mean, us being both first time parents. I just wanted to be there for that difficult process of the first 6 months. I mean, the first 18 months I hear is the most difficult part.
How often can you stay at her
Yeah,
house?
that's
Is
my-
that
So
like
I can stay at her house whenever I want.
Okay.
But if I'm working, it doesn't really work out that well.
Yeah.
What are you doing for work?
Bartending.
Okay.
Yeah. And the show, of course, which is also like in its right a full-time job. But yeah, so I mean, like that's just the part that I worry about a little bit, but I feel like we're going to be able to navigate that with our support system pretty well.
Yeah.
And but mostly my main concern is I just want her to feel supported.
I think you guys will figure it out. And just one outsider's opinion, I really commend you, Gypsy, for it seems clear, and I think even when I first met you, how intentional you are to try to make good decisions and try to make good and healthy choices. We don't always do that even when we try, but it's clear that you're making that effort. And it's clear, like even before, that you continue to do the work and you're making difficult decisions. I mean, having a kid is the most real shit anyone can face, right?
Right.
Having a kid with someone that you just got back together with, you're not married, you're going, there would have been a lot of options and choices that you could make for short-term ease. And it's clear to me that you're making choices where you're not just thinking about today and tomorrow, but you're making healthy choices not only for you, but for the both of you and for your child. And I think that's really great. It's not always going to be easy in the short run, but you guys will figure it out. And I love that you want to make choices based off of what's best for you in the long run, and not putting pressure on the relationship or pressures on Ken or in expectations that ultimately will make you question the sincerity of things. And I commend you for that.
Thank you. And we have taken on couples therapy.
Okay.
And so currently we're doing this sort of, it's like a couples therapist mixed with a parenting therapist.
Okay.
So it has a little bit of both in there. And so we just started that not long ago. And I really wanted to do that because I still do my individual therapy on a regular. And so I'm like, but like there's so much that is being put on us right now and on the relationship that I'm like, you know what? How about we start couples therapy and see how it goes, see if we like it. And I think it would be beneficial. And I'm enjoying it. I feel very open to our therapist.
Do you like it, Ken?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I've never done couples therapy before, so it's a new thing, but
we do it.
Yeah,
We love
I think it's great. I mean, it's a way to communicate like anything that you're like withholding, which I think is very normal for a lot of relationships, to hold things in, and it's allowing you that opportunity to have that open communication and realize things you may or may not be doing wrong. I think is very healthy and great, and I've really enjoyed we've only had 2 sessions so far. We go every other week, and it's getting us ready to be parents as well, but also helping us navigate our relationship, just getting back together and having a lot on our plate. And it's been great so far, honestly. I like it.
Gypsy, we kind of watched you go back and forth with Ryan on social media. At what point were you like, I'm done with this, I've got to stop?
I mean, honestly, I have been trying to have a very civil conversation with Ryan about everything because we don't communicate often. And I think that I really just wanted to have that, closure, that one conversation that kind of closed everything up. And we had that. Unfortunately, I feel like I'm in a place of higher healing and an elevated healing than he is right now. And so I've kept my distance, hoping that he could find that happiness and that healing for himself. What I want for him is to find his happiness in whatever form that is. And I encourage that. I have no ill will towards him at all. I wish him the very best. But any communication right now is just not in the best interest of our healing.
Really?
Yeah, makes
And it's got to be hard to get on social media and see someone you were married to talking about your relationship to a bunch of strangers. It's got to
It
just
is difficult because I don't talk about it. Like I'll go on TikTok and I'll do my lives and stuff, but I just really don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it makes sense. And, breakups are difficult and everyone kind of goes at their own pace. And so, it's tough, but you move on.
It is, exactly.
Last time I spoke to you, again, you just got out, so everything was new. But what are you enjoying? Like, what are things that oh my God, this is exciting and new. Like, what are things that, maybe we are taking for granted that you've discovered where this has been like fun or a guilty pleasure,
food.
TV, whatever
Food
it is.
has been that food. So Ken has had me try various foods. I tried octopus not long ago.
Okay.
I didn't like it.
She doesn't like anything.
I like some things, but definitely I've gotten a lot more pickier in my pregnancy.
Well, that makes sense.
It definitely changes the smell of stuff. You're like, I
Yes,
don't like that.
my palate has changed a lot. But honestly, I just kind of love catching up on new shows and old shows. I still have a list that, I still haven't gotten around to watch all the shows that we talked about on the last podcast.
What have you watched?
90 Day Fiance. I watched
Still love that.
I
Yeah,
still
you still
love
love
that show. I still love 90 Day Fiance.
We love what we love.
But like I've been getting into like movies that I would have never, like he's had me watch movies I would have never watched before.
Nick does that to me too.
Yeah.
So what was that one that we watched together?
We watched a lot together.
It was
This is so
that
me.
one.
This is so me. I'm like, it was with that guy.
The Last
He was...
Stop in Numa County, wasn't that?
Oh, that was
movie?
we watched that both for the first time together.
Yeah, I mean, like some of these movies I would never watch before, but he's taking me out of my comfort zone and trying new things, new foods, new movies. So that's, trying new things is the theme.
We're waiting for Chris. She's never seen Home Alone before.
Yeah, no, I've never
We're
seen
waiting
Home
for
Alone.
Christmas time.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Now,
Christmas
Gypsy, when you do
binge.
that, you should document that.
Okay,
you should
I will.
do a little, document it. Maybe share it on social media.
Okay.
It's charming. It's
Okay.
good for you, Ken, for making your way for Christmas.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, all the holiday
Yeah,
movies,
yeah.
like the Halloween movies.
Mhm.
We watched Fright Night. She didn't like
Hocus
it.
Pocus. Have you watched Hocus
Oh
Pocus?
yeah, that's
Okay.
a classic.
Okay.
I just got around to watching the second one.
What has been your favorite holiday to celebrate so far? Because so far they're all been kind of firsts in terms of being out of prison.
They really have. My birthday. Actually, I know it's not a holiday, but
That's a holiday. Yeah, it is.
in the past, birthdays for me have been complicated, and in prison, the last 8.5 years, my birthdays have been nothing more than my roommates making me a paper card. So, my family, my dad, Christy, they all had us a little luncheon for my birthday, and then Ken had taken me to the Ritz-Carlton for a
Oh my
fancy dinner.
God.
Okay.
Tell them what you ordered.
I ordered
The
French fries.
lobster. Oh,
She ordered French fries
That sounds like Natalie.
and a Caesar salad.
Yes, and a
well,
Caesar
girl
salad.
dinner. That's perfect with like a Diet Coke
Yeah.
or something. It's perfect.
And it was so sweet. So he made me a cake as well. He burnt the first one, and so he had to remake
Yeah.
it. Like
Love.
there was so much love that went into that cake. Oh, I
What
thought it was so
was
sweet.
Prison, one of the first birthdays you had that you knew your age going
It
into
was.
Okay.
It was. So, once I was told my real age, then I was able to start celebrating and getting older.
Yeah. Fun that is.
Yay.
Did you think you were younger or older than you were?
Originally, when I got arrested,
Yeah.
yeah, younger. I assumed that I was younger.
When you found your real age, were you like, let's just go back?
Do you know how I really feel about it? Is like when I celebrate a birthday, I'm kind of like, God, how did I get so old so fast?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
You're like, I was just 16.
Exactly.
That's funny.
I mean, she's obviously had a different life than I have, but I still feel the same way. I can't believe I'm 32 now. Like,
I just had a birthday. I choose to ignore it usually.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Happy late birthday.
Thanks. Yeah.
You got a new nose.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Was there any sort of underlying anxiety just from your trauma going into a facility and going under anesthesia and getting a surgery?
There was a little bit, not as much as people might think, because this was a surgery that I chose to have of my own free will. This is something that I had been wanting for a long time. I had been teased for my nose forever, and social media just made that even worse. I was called the nose. I was called all kinds of
No.
things.
Ugh.
So having the surgery was something that was going to boost my self-confidence and make me feel like the woman that I want to become. So having the surgery was the right thing for me.
Well, it looks
Yeah, it looks great.
so good.
Thank you. And I didn't want something super drastic. I just wanted the bump to be gone. And my surgeon did an amazing job.
Yeah,
It looks
really
very
good.
natural.
Thank you.
Yeah. What do I know? But it looks great. How were you in that process? Were you, I mean, obviously I'm assuming you were supportive, but like, how did you handle, was this more like, whatever you want to do, Gypsy,
Yeah.
or did you feel compelled to be like, I love you, whoever you are, like, it's like,
Don't change the
don't
nose.
change,
I mean, well, the reality is, like, I mean, when I fell in love with her, she had the brown hair, the long brown hair. She had the previous nose. She had the silvers, so like it didn't change the way I feel about her at all, and I know that she had wanted this procedure from even back when we knew each other, in the early days. So I was very supportive. I was like, okay, well, now you can finally go do what you want, and if it makes you happier, then of course I support you. So yeah.
We have a long history of teasing each other about noses because, I mean,
now I have
your
the nose.
nose isn't
You got a great
exactly
nose.
small.
We
Strong nose, Ken.
we joke about our daughter might have a,
Yeah.
a strong nose, bless her heart.
Because
But,
you could have the surgery, but the genetics are still there.
right,
so.
exactly.
Well,
So-
you know, she'll figure it out. Yeah. Sundays is fresh food made from a short list of human-grade ingredients. Hey, all you pet lovers out there, all you dog lovers out there, I know you are obsessed with your furry friends and you want to keep those lovely dogs around as long as possible. Well, do so by feeding them high-quality ingredients. What you put in your body matters for you. It matters for your dogs as well. And thank God for Sundays and Dr. Tori Waxman, who co-founded Sundays, a practicing veterinarian who tests and formulates every version of each recipe. Sundays contains 90% meat, 10% superfoods, and 0% synthetic nutrients or artificial ingredients. Dog parents report noticeably healthier improvements in their pups, including softer fur, fresher breath, better poops, and even more energy after switching to Sundays.
One of the best things about Sundays for dogs is they are so convenient. Unlike other fresh dog food, Sundays does not require refrigeration or preparation because of their air drying process. Just pour and serve. When you start a Sunday subscription, you'll automatically get 20% off and free shipping on every reorder. Cancel or pause your subscription anytime, 100% satisfaction guarantee. Every order ships right to your door, so you'll never worry about running out of dog food again.
Get 40% off your first order of Sundays. Go to sundaysfordogs.com/VIALL and use code VIALL at checkout. Hinge! I recently interviewed Logan Ury to talk about Hinge's new feature, Your Turn Limits. I think it'll change the online dating games. So let's hear about the new feature from Logan.
Hinge is releasing a new feature called Your Turn Limits. And what we found is that when daters are talking to more than 8 people at the same time, it can be really hard to turn that into a date. And so with this new limit, once you've reached 8 conversations, you either have to respond to one of them or close out one of them before you can get a new match. So it's really about helping people focus on the matches right in front of them.
Yeah, I love to hear that, Logan. I always talk a lot to my audience about dating apps. Obviously, I've always been a huge advocate of them, but like, Hinge seems to have discovered, you really have to limit your options because sometimes, an abundance of choice can really feel discouraging. It almost is analysis by paralysis. There's always this perception of abundance. And I think sometimes it's great if we can self-police, but it's great to have an app who is assisting us to make sure that we don't get overwhelmed by the number of matches and really help, be intentional with our dating. It seems like that's the goal with this new great feature from Hinge.
That's exactly what we're going for. We really want to help people be intentional and we want people to spend as little time on the app as possible and actually get onto a date.
This is exciting, Logan. I'm really happy to hear these changes on Hinge. Well, that certainly all sounds amazing. Get on Hinge today to start turning good convos into great dates. Let's talk Kardashians.
Oh boy.
That must have been exciting.
It was exciting. Kim was really nice. I actually have never watched the Kardashians.
Wow.
So going on the show, the producer got a big kick out of the fact that I had never watched the show before.
Have you watched since? Have you been like, let me just do a
My
deep dive?
episode?
Yeah, well, obviously.
I don't got time for that.
Yeah, I know.
But you were familiar, obviously, with the Kardashians.
Yeah, I was like, I knew Kim was very influential. I knew that she, has the show The Kardashians. She has Skims. And I knew that she was very into prison reform. And I said, she has sisters, right? Yeah, she has a couple of sisters. That's about what I know about Kim.
She's got some sisters. Chloe, Courtney, they're shaking.
They're fighting right now because of this. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, Skims has a great maternity line. So
Ooh,
some
nice.
nursing bras
Look it up,
and
Kim.
stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
look it up, Kim.
Have you kept in touch with them at all?
I've kept in touch with her producer.
Okay.
And I've also I have posted our selfies that we had taken and Kim had liked them on my social media. I have DM'd her a couple times on Instagram. So it's kind of we've had minimal, contact, but I know that is always a line that is open.
That's very cool. Yeah. And have there been any other cool celebrity interactions? Have other people reached out that have surprised you?
No, it's been pretty tame for right now. Because I got off of social media for a little while.
You deleted your Instagram.
I did.
Not even my turned it off.
No,
yes. Can we talk about that? Why? What made you do that?
Yeah. So, after I'm gonna say February. I'm just a person. Like, I'm not a celebrity. And so my reactions to things are like, oh, if it becomes overwhelming, just get rid of it, delete it. So I became overwhelmed and I'm like, I don't want this anymore. And so I deleted an Instagram with 8 million followers.
Yeah, you didn't just turn it off.
I just
deleted
it. And I had set my TikTok with like another like 7 million followers to be deleted as well. And then I changed my mind and I like only deactivated it. So a couple months later, I reactivated it.
I was thinking about it because it was like at first you were like, holy shit, Gypsy deleted her 8 million Instagram account.
Yeah.
And then how many followers do you have now on the new one?
I have 700,000. So
you could make a strong argument that the 700,000 followers that you have now are more valuable than the 8 million, because I couldn't help but wonder, especially when you got out of prison, I think a lot of people wanted to watch the spectacle. I don't think, those 700,000 people following you now are probably far more likely to be loyal. They want to support you. They're there for Gypsy. And I think a lot of those 8 million, like you said, were there to just...
because it was trendy at the time.
Be trolls, kind of not really be there to support you, but they're just to watch. And it's I don't think you have to miss those.
I appreciate my 700,000 followers.
And growing.
and growing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's you might be the first person ever to delete 8 million.
I didn't even realize how heavy that was. Like the concept of how many 8 million is.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. But
it's a lot.
It's I think you made the right choice for your mental health. Yeah.
In the last episode of your Lifetime show, your dad kind of randomly was like, kids, babies, wait, she wants a baby, but let's wait. What was his reaction when 4 weeks later you were like, hey, Dad?
So I had a FaceTime call with my dad. I told him via FaceTime because he was at work. And so his reaction was stoic at first, and like he just kind of nodded, and he was like, "Okay, well, congratulations. I'm happy for you."
Okay.
And I'm like, because I mean, that was the forefront of my mind. I kept going back to that one thing that he said, and he said it so randomly. I have no idea,
it was so random,
where it came from. Before that, he's like, I'm going to talk to you and Ken together, and I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but I'm going to talk to y'all together. And I was like already kind of feeling something was going to come up. But I did not expect that.
Yeah, I didn't either. I think we all were like, whoa, okay.
Did you get the talk, Ken?
I did, yeah. I mean, you guys saw it on TV. Like that was like unedited at the end. Like that was like what he was just like, she wants a baby. Just be careful, and I was listening. I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, we don't, that would be way too soon right now, We're just reconnecting.
And we agreed about that. Like I
totally agreed,
agreeable.
and I was sincere about it. But life happens, and didn't expect it. But once I heard the news, I was I'm ready for it, or I'm excited for it. I mean, yes, of course. Was it fast? For sure. But I'm still excited about. I'm so happy about it.
Good.
What are you most excited about in terms of being a mom?
Honestly, I'm most excited about sharing things with my daughter that like I didn't get to do. So it's like all those little milestone moments. I'm so excited for. Even now in my pregnancy, I'm like, I always look at the apps. I'm like, okay, she's as big as a grapefruit or something,
Yeah, Natalie did that all the time.
It's so fun.
She's so grapes right now.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of grapes.
I never really understood that chart.
I don't
by
either.
The way. I was like, what do you mean a grape?
Well, when I saw a banana, I was like,
yeah, it's like I thought we were an apple last week. I don't know.
Yeah, they grow weird.
Yeah, it's different. The apps are different, but it's kind of like all of those little things that I wish I could have had growing up. I want to give to my daughter.
I think you even mentioned last time we talked when you were just speculating about the possibility of one day being a mom. But obviously, at some point, you will have to have a conversation with your daughter. You're a long way away from that, obviously. What thoughts have you put into that? And do you have a plan of how you might address your past with your daughter?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that was something that's been on the forefront of my mind even before I got pregnant, is that conversation is going to come up someday. And how do I want to address that? How do I want to handle that? And I feel like when she is of the right age to understand, we are going to sit her down together. And also with my dad and Christy, we have that support there, and we're going to explain things in a way that's not overwhelming, but enough to where she understands where my life was at that time and how did I get there? Because obviously I didn't get there overnight. So with that being said, with love and care and consideration, I mean, we have a long time to prepare for that, to know what words need to be said. But also, that's why it was so important for me to also write my story in a memoir, because she could read it for herself and see that, I'm not this monster. I'm not the person that they say on social media. I'm not any of those things. My memoir is a true form of my soul and everything that I had been through. So I am taking all of these steps to make sure that she has every source of information she needs from the right places.
Yeah, I was going to ask if she wants to watch any of these shows or documentaries. Is that like why don't you just read my book first?
I mean, I fully encourage looking at someone's life in the most truest form. So I'm in support of documentaries. So if she wants to watch my documentaries, I'll let her when she's old enough.
Right.
And reading my book. That's and talking to us. Like, I'm an open book. He's an open book. Any questions that she has, we want her to feel comfortable to ask us.
Is there any part of you that thinks about the relationship your mom would have with her? Yeah.
I mean, for me, it is heartbreaking because I do, from time to time, think about what could have been. And it makes me sad. So I kind of put that in the back of my mind. And so, I mean, there has been questions on social media. Everybody asks the question, what are you going to tell your daughter whenever grandma isn't around? And I said, my response to them is that Christy has become more of a mother to me than my own mother was. So Christy is going to be grandma. And so that question really won't be a pest in our face as much as they think.
A bullshit question. I mean, a lot of people, unfortunately, have had grandparents pass away. Unfortunately, like River, our daughter, won't be able to, she has one grandparent around. It's as a bullshit.
Great grandparent.
Great
She's
grandparent.
got both of
Oh,
her. My parents and your parents are
Sorry.
both alive.
Those are my parents. I'm an asshole. But you get my point.
Yes. So,
a lot of
I agree,
people
it is
don't
kind of a
have
bullshit
grandparents
question.
around. It's a bullshit question. It's an unfair question. But I mean, thank you for answering it. But are there other questions or comments out there that, not that you ever need to address, but annoy you, that you almost want to feel compelled to answer because you don't like what people are suggesting?
Oh, of course. I mean, I get, negative comments all the time. And the one thing that just irritates me is the fact that people really have this stigma on, new parents that have come from a life of trauma. And the stigma of, oh, you had been through this, so you're going to continue on that cycle with your child. I think that's so unfair to put that on someone because I'm a person that I'm taking the steps to make sure that I'm mentally stable enough to be a parent, and heal myself. And so going forward, I might not be a perfect parent. Nobody is. But I am going to do the best I can and make educated choices with my child and have the support to do so.
As someone who has been through some trauma, definitely nothing like what you have been through, but I can confidently say that, when we had our daughter, it was very much like there's so much love that I felt was taken from me that it's like, I want to give her so much love. And it's like, there's no part of the trauma that ever is like, gets in between us. It's just like, there's just so much love you want to give them and so much happiness. And you're like, I want to show you that like, you are so special and you mean so much. And it's like the trauma has, nothing to do with the relationship you have with your daughter.
Also, when you're talking about generational trauma being passed down, it gets passed down when it's not acknowledged or addressed. And it's, no one's really aware of the trauma, which, you know, up until, you know, the past 5-10 years where mental health has really become something that's been far more normalized. Generational trauma was something that was commonly passed down. But again, like, you're clearly doing the work, as we've said. You know, you're clearly doing whatever you can to address your trauma, to face your trauma head on, both individual therapy, couples therapy. So it's, again, that's just the internet, you know, wanting to be heard. But yeah, someone's projecting some pain from their parent they haven't addressed. They just want to put that on you.
Put that somewhere else.
Yeah.
I feel like last time you were with us, you gave us a name for like a potential baby.
Oh, really?
Did I?
What was that name?
I don't even remember.
I don't remember the name either.
Do you have a name picked out?
Do we have a name?
We have a couple of names that are in mind, but we haven't set.
You want to workshop them? No.
Listen, if I can give you one piece of advice, it is do not share your name with anyone, because people give you, they're like, oh, I went to high school with someone named that and they sucked and they're awful. And you're like,
they project all that.
Yeah, a little too late for that one. We've already kind of shared the name ideas, and we've got a lot of that too.
Okay,
like one of the names that we love and have potentially chosen is Aurora, and
beautiful.
Love that name.
It's a beautiful name. That was something that we like had talked about like way back, 6-7 years ago when we first met, about like potential son daughter names. Like, what do you like? And Aurora was one that we both mutually connected over. But that's also Christy's dog's name, so
that's fine.
The way that I chose River for our daughter was it's a very common name in the South for boys. Rivers is very common, and I saw a TikTok of someone being like, I'm from Georgia, and here's my dog. It's River. And I was like, love. Beautiful.
It's a great name.
It's a great name.
Hot take. And when it comes to baby names, I think people are a little too precious about it. It's like, yeah, you want your kid to have a unique name. And then when River was born, we found out, my buddy had a son like 2 months before, named his son River. It turns out it's a popular name. And honestly, I was like, I was glad. You don't want your kid to have to repeat their name their entire life because you chose to want it to be so unique. You know, it's like, oh, Ken, great. I can remember that, you know? Yeah. Gypsy, great.
It's a little different.
Gypsy's unique.
But it's unique, but it's not like hard to say where it's like, what? Huh? What is that? Like, I think sometimes people go a little too overboard with unique names. And it's, I think even if you name your kid Aurora and it happens to be Christy's dog's name, like, that's totally fine. If you like the name.
Well, that's not even where like it came from or anything. Because like back when how that particular name came about is whenever we were dating the first time, of course, we wrote letters a lot. And we had those conversations of like, okay, if we have kids someday, what will we name our kids? Aurora, I sent him a letter with Aurora, and then he sent me a letter with Aurora that same week, but we didn't get it until like the next week. And how we came up with Aurora is because we both love the Northern Lights. And another name for the Northern Lights is the Aurora Borealis.
I feel like you gotta go with Aurora.
So that was like a connection thing. I'm like, oh, and then it became like a thing. So
it's a very pretty name.
Yeah.
Would you carry on Rose for the middle name?
I thought about it. And I'm just not sure yet.
Okay.
I don't know.
Our daughter's name is River Rose.
Yeah.
I mean,
is it really?
It is River Rose.
Oh,
yes.
I like that.
Yes. After Gypsy,
After Gypsy.
and my grandmother.
I love
so
that.
Beautiful.
I love that.
Like that.
Well, I want to ask you guys, if I can, like,
Please.
because you guys this is your first child, right?
Yeah.
So, like, how has it been for you two? I mean, just for the last 6 months, or when was she
8
born?
months.
Incredible.
8 months.
8 months. I mean, incredible. I think we're both enjoying it. As a father, I mean, it really has been amazing. My biggest advice is don't listen to anyone who's like some sort of doomsday parents. A lot of people like to be like, oh, get ready to not
Just
sleep.
wait for
Oh,
this.
just wait for
Just
all the
wait.
fucking road. It's
Yeah.
like, shut the fuck up. Yes, you might lose a little bit of sleep. For us, me personally, and granted, River's been a pretty easy baby. So, I'm sure there are other babies out there who might really test parents' sleep. But like every time I got to wake up in the middle of the night, I was like, I get to take care of my kid. That feeling of having a purpose, it gives you purpose. You know why you're waking up every day. You know why you're going to work. You even, not that, like you said, you don't want a kid to be a reason you guys get married or stay together. But there is that like extra, like, anytime you want to be stubborn or kind of, you have that child that's there to say, it's not about just me anymore. And I think it's been a beautiful thing for us, and we've really enjoyed it. And as a father, like I said, it really gives you purpose. And so
totally.
Embrace it, have fun with it. And if anyone wants to like project their stuff on, just ignore them.
Okay.
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also it's also just like they're only that small for that day. Like
Really?
they truly grow so fast.
Quickly.
I look at River today and I like cannot believe that she is as big as she is.
Yeah.
She was just like 6 pounds in my like the smallest baby ever, and they truly grow so fast. So like when people say enjoy it and soak up, like just be in the moment every single day. I saw something that was like, anytime the baby is giving you a hard time or whatever, it's like picture yourself at 80 years old, and it's like you can only go back to one moment, and it's that moment. And it's like you would take that moment over anything.
Yeah.
Did it hit you the strongest when you like held her for the first time?
Well, I mean, when she was born, Natalie did skid to skin right away. They took River to kind of clean her up, so she was crying. So I kind of instinctually like went over to her, and she like stopped crying for a second, and that was
she recognized his voice.
That's,
so
I'm getting emotional
to her
thinking
as
about
much
it
as
now.
possible.
Yeah. So that was like trip, just because I could feel like she recognized my voice and calmed down. So that was definitely a moment. And do the skin to skin.
Okay.
You should do that once Gypsy's done doing that. But like just as much as you can, just be around and be present. And it's been awesome for me. So.
Yeah, I mean, like she's starting to kick now more than ever.
Oh, yes.
I think I was holding her stomach just like 2 nights ago in our hotel, and I was like, my jaw just dropped,
so
like, feeling like the little movements.
It's gonna, it's gonna.
She's
happen
her
even
kicks are
more.
getting stronger, and at first, in those first couple weeks or whatever, you're waiting to feel movement. You're waiting for all these different milestones that come up, and I didn't realize it would take so long.
Yeah, no, I
because
know.
you get so excited about it. So when finally she started kicking into where he could feel it, I'm like, here, touch. She's kicking. She's kicking.
Yeah, it is. It's
I think
so
I need
fun.
you just gave me something to think about. Where like I probably should stop talking to her the way I do, because I talk to her like with a baby voice.
Oh, you'll do that
No.
like forever.
You'll probably stop talking to
You
her
give her that
normally,
same
so that
voice
and
she
she comes out.
I do
recognizes
that.
me.
I do. Yeah, it's
No, yeah.
she'll recognize your voice. Just
Okay.
just talk
Also,
as much
just
as
like
you can.
talking around,
Okay.
Yeah,
she
she
can
is, yeah.
hear everything.
Mhm.
It's really crazy. Everything that they can soak up just by being inside of you. It's really wild.
Any crazy cravings?
Nothing overly crazy. At first it was like orange juice. I kept drinking orange juice really like a lot. And then applesauce and icing. So right now it's like all sweet stuff.
okay.
Icing, cake.
Fun.
I think Lay's potato chips with icing would sound really delicious.
Oh
right
my God,
now.
that kind of sounds good right now
Yeah.
for me
I
too.
fuck with that, yeah.
Mm.
TMI, but at your comfort level, intimacy while pregnant. You guys just got back together, then you got pregnant.
Mhm.
Which in terms of like the honeymoon phase, is not necessarily the most convenient thing.
Right?
And obviously, pregnancy does affect intimacy between couples in a relationship. How do you guys navigate that? What's that been like?
I mean, for me, I want to say my exhaustion level, if I'm tired or something like that, has affected a little bit recently. But our intimate life had not changed in the first or
Kim.
second trimester.
They'd be
Yeah, I
fucking.
would say there's been like almost no changes. Like the fire's still burning bright. And, of course, there are the nights where like we've been on a plane all
I'm
day.
like, I'm
that's
so
just,
tired.
but yeah, I mean, I've really seen no changes in that.
Okay,
Damn,
pop off.
they'd be fucking.
All right, cut that. Cut that.
Where do you plan on standing when the baby is arriving?
Oh yeah, are you like
Standing?
head in there? Are
'Cause
you like watching baby
Oh,
come
Are
out?
you
I-
catcher's mitt? Or are you going to be?
No.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
going to be behind the curtain,
Okay.
behind the the knee curtain anyway. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
That's where I was.
You're gonna be by my
and just
head.
holding the. I picture myself holding her right hand and just like looking at her in the
Yes.
face and
Just
like,
look at
"You're
me.
doing great, babe. You're doing
Yes.
great. Just breathe. Look at me. You know that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
That's what I did.
Yeah,
Yep.
follow suit.
I'm like, I don't want
her-
anyone seeing
Her
that.
cousin, they recently had a baby, and he was
He caught him.
Really?
Yeah.
He was like, I want to be in there. I want to see it. I guess he can
Oh.
compartmentalize. And he took.
Our doctor was like, "Do you want to deliver the baby?" And I was fully prepared to be
Mhm.
at Natalie's head, and I paused, and I felt like I was supposed to say yes, but I was like, no.
We'll see. Maybe the second
No.
or third. We'll
Well,
see. No, you don't think so? Okay.
Boundaries are important.
Boundaries
in
are
a
There you go.
relationship.
There
I,
you
I
go.
think of that scene from. Have you seen Knocked Up? The movie Knocked Up.
Yeah.
Like, we watched that a lot, like during the beginning process. And there's like that scene at the end where like Jay
Mhm.
Baruchel runs in. And he's just like he has this like traumatic moment. He's like, "Don't go in there. Don't look." So like, I'm just gonna stay behind the curtain. I mean,
Yes.
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 I love it.
I feel
Uh,
more comfortable. Just
I
stay by
love
me.
you. I support you. I just
Yep. Nope.
I get
It
queasy.
Ken, do you have any weird cravings since Gypsy's been pregnant?
Oh my gosh. Nick was pregnant with me. The amount of stuff he was eating, I'm like, please, what's going on here?
I never gained so much weight. than
Oh
when
yeah,
she-
I've gained since I've moved to Louisiana. I've gained about 20 pounds.
I was like, should I eat this? Yeah, why
It's
not?
that
We're
Southern
pregnant.
cooking.
Yeah.
We're pregnant. Like, for sure.
I mean, I still eat. I mean, been eating a lot of this New Orleans Cajun Creole food, more than ever, obviously. But I've been trying to cook at home for us more and make healthier meals for both of us, and for the development of the baby and all that. I try to keep all that in mind more so now than I did at the beginning, just because it's becoming so much more real as the months go on. Yeah, no, I'm craving wise. I don't think
I
so.
feel like all of my pregnancy weight so far has shifted
To him.
because I lost.
Wow, geez, okay.
I know that was not this way, but
Ken, we just met, but you look great.
but I lost 9 pounds in my first trimester, and then I gained 2 back, lost 1, and then now gained 3 back. So
Okay.
it's kind of been a little up and down for me. But I don't eat hardly any different than I used to, as far as portion wise goes.
Okay.
So I don't like gorge myself and be
Yeah.
like, I'm eating
Mhm.
for
When
2.
Yeah, but
Like, I don't
you
do
don't
that.
need to. People would always, I think, just say that as like an excuse, but I don't.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you don't need to eat for 2. You
Yeah.
just eat normal.
Just eat
and
normal.
people-
It'll be fine.
Now that you've had about 9 months of being out of prison and kind of seeing the world, and then you got pregnant, and then
Mhm.
you're also still on parole, so you're still limited in a little bit of your freedom.
Mhm.
But what are some things that you haven't yet been able to do since being released that you're still very excited about doing?
Honestly, travel.
Okay.
Like traveling abroad. So, right now, it's one of those things that I can only go out of state so many times a year. So, and now I'm pregnant. So
yeah.
even more restrictions. But, once we have the baby and, once I'm off parole, I really want to go to Europe, to Rome and just start traveling, see some things. But so far, we're trying to make like the most out of the little travel spots that we're going to. So we just came in from San Francisco.
Fun.
And so we were able to see the Golden Gate Bridge.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So so try to do what I can.
What are you most excited to show Gypsy?
Well, yeah, I just like I focus on like, these like short term experiences like that lie ahead. So, I mean, I've really enjoyed having a lot of first time experiences with her. Like I took her to Taco Bell for the first time in her life,
Mm.
which is just so surreal to think about. Like you've never had Taco Bell in your entire life.
What
What
was
did
your
you
order?
get?
Little
Yeah.
thing. Oh, I just ordered one of
Hey, got
everything and just had a
everything.
whole spread, and
What
we
was
just
your-
tried a bite of
What was your
each.
favorite?
Well, I think the quesadillas.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was her
yes.
favorite. And then
Quesadillas are
I think
good.
it was Crunch Wrap was her second.
Mm.
And we didn't finish anything. We just had like a bite of each. And then but no, I mean I'm really excited for Halloween. We're just gonna pass out candy, I think.
We're not
we're
going to
not
dress
gonna
up
dress
this
up?
year.
Oh, we're gonna dress up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's going to be Forrest Gump and I'm
Mhm.
going to be Jenny.
That was filmed in Savannah. Have you been to Savannah yet?
No, not yet.
You would love. It's
Not too
where
far
I'm
from you.
Yeah.
That's where we got married.
You would
Oh,
love
okay.
it.
Oh, really?
lovely.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
She's from there. Yeah.
Oh,
So.
thanks.
So we'll do that, and then Thanksgiving we're gonna be traveling to Florida to my dad's house, and hopefully her mom and dad can come, and we can make it like a big event. And she's never had like a full spread Thanksgiving before, so that'll be exciting. Just
It's
get to share
also-
that with her.
I was pregnant Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
It's the best. It's the best. Food's so good. You can get seconds, thirds, leftovers.
Love
That was
it.
like the best time to be pregnant.
Love it.
Yeah.
And then you have Christmas
And
coming
then
up.
Christmas,
too.
yeah,
Yes.
Christmas.
And this will be your first Christmas?
This will be my first Christmas because I got out on December 28th.
Yeah, right after
Right.
Christmas.
Right after
yeah.
Christmas. So this is my first Christmas home.
Big
So-
plans?
Honestly, because my parents they have their own like version of their Christmas. Sometimes they do like a whole get together with the entire family a week before. So I'm not really sure if they're gonna do that this year, kind of depending on my dad's work schedule. But I do want to do something with the whole family. And we were talking about maybe us hosting it. So
Okay.
Have you met everyone on your dad's side of the family?
I almost have now because we had a huge Blanchard family reunion.
Huge.
Whoa,
I didn't
you really-
realize how many people could be on one side of the
I
family.
know.
Really?
So I got to meet a lot of cousins. I got to meet so many people that I never knew existed.
Any favorites?
She's like, I hated my great aunt. That's awful.
Do you cook now?
I cook a little.
Okay.
So I've been, learning how to cook via cookbooks. I've cooked a spaghetti so far. I've cooked I think it was like this sort of taco soup thing. And so I cooked him my spaghetti. So you could ask him if it tastes all right.
It was great.
Was
It's fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can watch it on YouTube, actually. You can watch
Yeah,
my whole
I put it
reaction.
on YouTube.
There we
It's
go.
great.
What are your hobbies these days?
Hobbies have been sleeping. But no, seriously. Honestly, I tried to get in. I'm trying to do more like influencer videos on social media, fashion, because when I first came out of prison, apparently I was very not on fashionable.
Oh no.
Like the
internet
outfits
said
that I wore and
Oh,
stuff like that. Like
no.
I had friends to let me know what was trendy. But as for everyday things, I am so far behind. So now I've been sort of Googling and trying to figure out and follow the trendy stuff. And make cute little makeup videos and tutorials and stuff.
very
Fun.
fun.
Has it been like crazy learning all the makeup that's out there, learning how to like do your own makeup, the
Yeah,
glam?
I had to learn that, you have to find what's right for you.
Yeah.
So I bought a lot of makeup and have gone through a lot of brands, but finally found the right one for me. So
It's so funny. Alexis is actually, she's a good friend of mine. She's done my glam
Mhm.
several times. And I saw she does
yeah,
yours
Alexis
too.
is amazing.
Yeah,
she's
Yeah,
she's
she's really
wonderful.
sweet.
She
She's
came
taught
to
you-
our gender reveal.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah?
saw
Yeah.
that. Fun. Okay. Has she taught you? Has she been like, here's some tips, here's some tricks?
Yes, she has.
Okay.
So, I ask a lot of questions like when she's doing my makeup and stuff. I'm like,
So
what
do
does
I.
this do? What does that do? So, thankfully she's been able to give me a couple of tips here.
Okay, good. She helps me out too. I'm always like, how did you do this?
Have you spoken with Joey King at all or gotten to know her or
No,
has she reached out?
I had DM'd her back in, I want to say it was either January or February. I did DM her. She did DM me back, but that was our only interaction.
And what are you able to share what it was? Was it
Oh yeah,
pretty
it was
brief?
positive.
Yeah.
I wanted to reach out to her to let her know that, from, the 30 minutes that I had watched of the act, I think she did a pretty good job. And I wanted to congratulate her on her success going forward. And I also felt like she was very brave for taking on me as a role. And so she DM'd me back and she was like, I hope that I did your story justice. And, I wish you the very best. So it was a good and
Aw.
positive
Oh,
exchange.
that's cool. Yeah.
That's sweet.
It must have almost felt good for both of you to have that interaction
Yes,
a little
'cause I'm
bit,
like,
yeah.
this woman played me in
Yeah.
a popular show. And so I at least want her to know, that I'm grateful for her taking on such a task.
And I'm assuming you only just watched a little bit of it.
I only
Yeah.
watched a little bit because, I lived it.
Sure.
Like I said, I lived it. It's still too triggering.
Yeah.
So I just kind of leave it.
Ken, have you watched I know you said you watched.
No, I didn't watch the act.
Okay.
I felt the same way. Like I had seen the original documentary. I had seen multiple other like subsidiary documentaries when we first met. And then by the time the act came out, like every time I would watch like the newer documentaries, it's traumatizing for even me to watch. Like
Sure,
it's a very sad, traumatic story. So I didn't want to see it again and again and again.
It makes you different when you know someone.
Right.
And you're
yeah.
watching there.
And then not to mention like not that I'm knocking the show at all. I'm sure it was, I'm sure it was fine. I didn't see it, but like, it was dramatized for TV,
Sure.
Right.
versus where like documentaries are more in depth. Or so I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it's one thing for a story to be made for TV and then have it not be totally accurate. But when it's about you, the inaccuracies, I'm sure, can be far more sensitive. You want it to be very accurate, and if they take liberties, that I can see how that can be a very triggering.
Because no one can know your life but
Yeah,
you
and
to
it's
the
just like,
fullest
wait, it
extent.
didn't happen that way,
Yeah.
And then even though when we watch this stuff, we know it's like, based off a true story. We watch it as if it's almost a documentary sometimes, and that can be very frustrating. I can only imagine. How are you guys in terms of when you do face challenges, when stress, happens, being pregnant? How are you guys, other than obviously couples therapy, but how are you guys handling that stress, and how do you guys make sure that even though you're still going through a honeymoon phase, that you are still staying connected and working through whatever issues you guys might have?
I mean, for me, it's communication, and so like I really, really try to push hard for, checking on your partner. I check in all the time, and it might seem bothersome sometimes, but I'm kind of like, are you okay? Like, do we need to talk about something that we read on social media or whatever? Keeping that level of communication open is so important, and that's something that my dad told me a long time ago. Is communication is key, and it's so, so true. But I think, during the pregnancy, he and I have done this one particular thing where it's like we kind of withhold a little bit because it's like I am going through a pregnancy and he doesn't want to put more stress on me. I don't want to put more stress on him because the move was so new to him. He moved to a new area. So it's like we have these outside stresses coming in. How do we handle that? And so, like I said, it's good to at least say, "Hey, are you okay?" And hopefully he feels comfortable enough opening up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that figuring out and handling stress even today is still evolving for us. Sometimes I do have a habit of like internalizing stress or emotions, or I just try to dismiss them or pretend they're not there, which isn't healthy. And but I think that, like she said, like the communication part is the most important, and we find ways to increase that communication and be more comfortable with it. And even if we don't want to talk about something, we get through it. And it's like the couples therapy has helped for sure communicate a lot that we internalize, but like I said, yeah, it's still evolving.
Are you guys getting recognized in public pretty often?
I am.
Yeah, since
She
you're
is, for
bartending,
sure.
are people?
It's happened a few times at where I work, but very, very like seldom.
Okay.
And even the few times that it has, like, they'll come up and they'll say like, "Hi, like congratulations," and they're very nice. And I will say that about even with her, like everyone that we've ever met in person has always been the nicest, sweetest. It's always been a very pleasant interaction.
That's usually how it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the negative is strictly online. Like we
And
never
even the people who do say negative things, if they were to meet you, it would be very much
the opposite, right?
Well,
Yeah,
the internet's like
I
the
wonder.
Matrix. It's not
I wonder
real.
sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's-
I mean, yesterday she spoke at San Francisco State, and the entire auditorium, like standing ovation, cheering, clapping, like chanting her
Wow.
name. Like everyone just wanted to come and say hi. They were so sweet, so loving, and that's like the real that like I want us to focus on more is like people that we interact with in real life. Generally are very nice people and do wish her the best, and so I'm thankful for that.
How was that public speaking?
It was very new. It was wonderful. It was so good to actually share my thoughts about prison reform and advocacy because it in so many ways when you're doing an interview for this or for that or for this Today Show, whatever, their line of questioning is what they want it to be.
Mhm.
So at least for this, the line of questioning was for a very specific reason. And it's more on the side of advocacy and global acknowledgement that, our justice system is flawed. It's not fair. So we need to start having those conversations and talking about those things.
Mhm. Have you, Ken, kind of immersed yourself into, Gypsy's passions when it comes to the advocacy that she wants to do?
Yeah, no, I fully support it. And I think that yesterday was like a really big step for her on her, quest for advocacy. And I think that it couldn't have gone better. It was an amazing, amazing experience. And I'm there for her going forward. I think she's going to do great. I think that once she's off parole, then like it's limitless at that point, and there like a lot more options open up. But yeah, I'm fully supportive, and I know that she's going to do amazing.
All right, so time for texting office hours. Last time, Gypsy, when you were here, there was a caller who needed some relationship advice. We have someone calling in with a new problem, someone new, and we're just going to offer some advice as friends, just like we did last time.
Good Americans Always Fits jeans are a total game changer. Whether it's a big lunch, a few drinks with friends, or even that time of the month, these jeans fit like a dream. They stretch perfectly with my body, giving me room to move and breathe without ever losing their shape. I feel confident and comfortable no matter what the day brings. It's like they were made just for me. Co-founded by Khloe Kardashian and Emma Grede with a mission to redefine fashion through inclusivity and comfort, creating denim that feels as good as it looks, catering to all body shapes and sizes. Good American Always Fits denim uses a one-size-fits-four design that adapts to your body's changes and fluctuations, guaranteeing the perfect fit every time. So when your body changes, your jeans won't need to. Good Americans Always Fits limitless four-way stretch and recovery denim moves with you, stretching up and down 4 sizes, holding its shape and flattering yours. Available from size 00 to plus size 32. From skinny jeans to bootcut, high-waisted to cropped, Good American offers a wide variety of styles that cater to every preference and occasion.
The one thing I do really love about these jeans is the idea that I kind of fit in a bracket. So it's like I'm not a prisoner to like my one size. And if it doesn't fit, then all of a sudden I have these like complexes or being like, did I gain weight? Did I lose weight? Whatever it is. From 0 to 4, I'm good. So if I have a large lunch and I'm gaining a little bit, I'm good. If I'm working out, I can stay in the same pair of jeans. And I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, Good American was really there for me throughout postpartum. It was like I obviously was not my typical size and I was all up and down, and Good American jeans were there for me, and I'm truly thankful.
Shop now at goodamerican.com. Use promo code VIALL for $50 off your first pair. Don't forget to select podcast at checkout and choose our show to let them know we sent you. Symbiotica is a supplement brand that we love, giving us access to a wide variety of different options. Listen, you know how busy your daily lives are, and if you are really busy, but you want to get the nutrients that you need to make yourself feeling like your best self, you got to check out Symbiotica. Since taking their products, we've noticed more energy to get through those long days and even having better sleep. They are formulated with high-quality ingredients out there. Symbiotica is transparent about how and where they source ingredients to ensure that you get the best products possible. Their formulas don't have any seed oils, preservatives, toxins, artificial additives, or supposed natural flavors.
The best part about it is that Symbiotica isn't chalky. A lot of other supplements can have that really like chalky, thick, gross taste, and Symbiotica doesn't. Symbiotica features supplements that taste delicious. From the citrus vanilla taste of their vitamin C to their vanilla cream flavor of magnesium L-threonate, you can get great taste across all of Symbiotica's offerings. What we love most about Symbiotica is that they truly have so many different options and offerings for all of your supplement needs.
Feel more energized, alert, and balanced with high-quality supplements that work. Head over to symbiotica.com/VIALL. That is CYMBIOTIKA.com/VIALL for 20% off plus free shipping on your subscription order. That's symbiotica.com/VIALL. How's it going?
Good. My name is Allison. I'm 25 and I had a baby with my best friend, and now I'm trying to figure out what to do.
Okay. Tell us more about having your baby with your best friend. I mean, usually that would be a good thing, but what's the problem, I guess?
Yes. So we were very good friends. I knew him for a couple years, and then for about a year, we were like best friends. We would do everything together. Like we always wanted to be around each other. He would even stay over at like my apartment. Sometimes would sleep on the couch. He would never try anything, was never flirty. And that was it. Like we were just best friends. Never even really like thought about anything more. And then eventually I just kind of started to ask myself, like, why wasn't I considering him as more? Because I had so much fun with him and we laughed all the time. But really what was just holding me back was that like physical attraction. But eventually we decided to like give it a try. and then ended up getting pregnant the first time we had sex. So,
Okay. And are you guys, so where are you two now? Are you still just friends? Or are you not sure if you should be in a romantic relationship?
so we were together for almost 3 years
Okay.
and separated like 2.5 months ago. Our daughter is 2.
Oh,
So this is very recent, but I was just kind of struggling over the past year a lot and voicing that to him. And, we were trying to work through things. I got us both into therapy, and we were having a lot of conversations just about how I wasn't very happy. And I just really didn't see any change at all. And so ultimately I decided to, end things. But it just definitely has not been easy.
so right now, is your biggest struggle just trying to figure out how to navigate having a child with ultimately is your ex now?
Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge?
Trying to just figure out if I made the right decision, really. It's just been hard because I just go back and forth so much with if I should just try to make this work because we can have such a great friendship. But for me personally, like the romantic side of things and the chemistry just like isn't there for me. And so, but like having a child with someone and having your family together is just so important. So I don't know if I should just like push through and try to make it work or be selfish. But I just have a lot of guilt when it comes to being selfish in that way because of my daughter.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. And I think that's very relatable. But I think it's okay to still prioritize yourself at times. I mean, I don't think having a kid means that you have to give up your own happiness. And if you guys worked through it and tried, I think it's normal to have the feelings that you're having, but I don't think it's, having a kid doesn't mean you have to be with someone that you're not in love with.
Do you feel like there's a world in which you can get back to the best friend, having so much fun together, being in each other's lives, but not having any romantic? Like, do you feel like that's possible again?
So the co-parenting that we've been doing over the past couple months has honestly gone amazing. Like it's so great. I've seen him happier than I've seen him in a long time. And so seeing him like smile and laugh has been great, but then it kind of like it makes me sad because I'm not doing that well. But I think that like our co-parenting relationship has been amazing. And if we could keep it at that, then and I think we can. But then that's why I struggle is because I'm like, could our relationship be good? But then I just feel like I don't know if I can like make myself attracted to him and want to kiss him and like.
Is he still trying to be with you?
Yeah. He stepped up and done things that he never did in the relationship, really. Like, so that's what makes it hard too.
I can tell you from personal experience, if it's not there from the start, it's never going to be there. At least that's how it was for me. So it is something that you do have to prioritize your own happiness. Regardless, y'all can still co-parent and be good parents at that. But to try and make yourself happy with someone that you're not in love with in that way, I did not realize how much attraction matters in a relationship because I was prioritizing the heart that I saw and, the love that I felt, but it was a different type of love. And I thought that it'd eventually grow to be this, wonderful, romantic, fiery relationship. And I never got there. So definitely prioritize yourself. It's not selfish.
I think something also to just remember is that you don't have to decide today or tomorrow or next week. You be grateful for what you do have, which is you still have a relationship with this person and you guys are still prioritizing your child, it sounds like, as you should be. And he's still in your life. I mean, for better or worse, this person isn't going to be in your life for the next 18 years. And so you don't have to decide today whether this is something you need to try again or, try to work out. You're almost acting as if you do have to decide and adding all this pressure to yourself. Like, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Maybe just set it aside for a while, maybe just tell yourself, if I realize that I'm made a mistake, like you're worried about making, if I realize that my feelings are stronger than I thought, or if I realize my feelings have grown, you can see if he still has feelings for you then, If things change, then they change. But, not to sound like cliche, but if it's meant to be, or if it wants to work itself out, it will. But in the short term, try not to add unnecessary pressure to yourself and set false deadlines that don't exist. There is no deadline, even if he's like demands an answer from you. There's a good chance he'll reconsider if you're willing to reconsider,
Yeah, that's a good point. My mom has been a lot of help throughout this because she left my dad with 3 kids when we were older. And so she's like, this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever gone through. And you're not going to feel like you have a clear head. Like, it's just been such a roller coaster. My emotions have been all over the place. And I feel like I have to be like on all the time for my daughter when I do have her. And so that's been hard. Just trying to, be happy and fun and all the time when I feel like I am just struggling so much. But I know it'll take time.
What do you feel like your daughter is missing? Do you think it's like just having the family unit all under one house? Because she still has you and she still has her dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we are together, like we'll still get together and do like, whether it's like a dinner once a week or an activity or something, or even just at drop-offs, we'll like hang out all together for a little bit. And she is just so happy, so happy. She's constantly like, hi guys, like mommy, daddy. And so it's just, that's hard too, because I can see how much she wants that. So it's just, the guilt is like insane.
Yeah. I mean, it is challenging. I mean, I don't think anyone's in a position to tell you not to feel how you're feeling, but I think it's normal how you're feeling. And kind of to Gypsy's point and what we said earlier, if you're not going to be happy in this relationship, that will have, kids are intuitive. They'll pick up on that. And your daughter's pretty young right now, and she sees mom and dad, and it's like, she probably doesn't even understand the concept of what you think you're not giving her. But it's like you see it and you see mom and dad, and like you apply that guilt to your situation. But I doubt, how old your daughter's how old? 3, 2?
2.
So yeah, she probably doesn't even understand that concept. And then as she does get older, she'll be more and more intuitive. And if you put yourself in a relationship that you're just not happy with, that your daughter will pick up on that energy. And so when you think about what you want to give your daughter, instead of feeling that guilt that you're worried about, feeling, just make sure mom and dad are as happy as they can be. And I think it'll work itself out. But yeah, kids are pretty intuitive. And if you have negative energy and if you're just unhappy and sad, and you try to make it work, because I'm not hearing you questioning how you feel about him. All I'm hearing is you're worried about not being able to give your daughter what you think she deserves, and if you were thinking about, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about him, I'm questioning how our relationship, but that's not what it sounds like. And I don't think you should consider a relationship with someone that deep down, it sounds like you're pretty confident how you feel about him. You're just not sure what you guys should do as it relates to your daughter.
Yeah. Sometimes I just hope that I'm not like seeking like this like fairy tale love that doesn't necessarily like exist or last. Obviously, after you have a kid, we never really got to explore our relationship before I got pregnant. And so we don't know what it was like without her, or without me being pregnant. Basically, our entire relationship has been focused on her. And so I just don't know. Also, am I just like experiencing normal, like how a relationship would be like regarding physical intimacy and everything like that, like after a child, or if it just wasn't there to begin with? I go back and forth with that.
Having the desire to kiss your partner isn't a fairy tale. That's not like something that's like so far out that like you don't think you can get. Like that's normal. And that's something you do want to do. So the fact that you have this feeling of like, I have no desire of like any sort of intimacy with him, I think that's just your strong indicator of like, he's just not your person.
Yeah. And as 2 new parents here, I can, to Natalie's point, like there's a difference between someone being too tired or too much going on, or Natalie being pregnant, or our daughter being young and us enjoying that, versus like, the desire is still there. It's just that we don't always have the time or bandwidth, but to your point, you don't even have the, oh, I wish we weren't so busy. or, kind of desire, type of thing. Not that we ever don't wish our daughter was around, but sometimes it's like, oh man, like when Nallie's mom's around, she can take River and we try to have that quality time. Might be limited, but like, you don't have that desire. And I think you're kind of overthinking, it sounds like, what you think you should do, but I'm not hearing anything about wishing you just had more time with your partner.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like, I don't know, these are normal feelings you're having.
They are normal.
You're a good mom, You're going to clearly, more than anything, you care about your daughter's well-being. And that goes a long way. And your daughter will be taken care of because you want her to be taken care of and you love her. And, there's no perfect, especially in 2024, there is no perfect family dynamic. There is no perfect situation. There's a lot of married couples together that shouldn't be together, and their kids probably wish their parents weren't together, And so, again, talking about fairy tale, yeah, you're worried about is, are you expecting too much of your relationship? There's also kind of a fairy tale family dynamic that you're applying too much pressure on your situation that maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think enjoy your daughter, enjoy having someone, her father, who is a great co-parent. He's a great person to have around. He's a great father. And maybe start prioritizing your own personal happiness and love, and maybe venture down that at some point.
Yeah.
Like enjoy these things. These are good things. I think it is rare to have such a great co-parenting relationship and someone who is so present in their daughter's life and, is happy and loving. And I think that's rare. So I think if you just like accept that for what it is and love that, you can like start to love yourself and love like that journey for yourself more, because it is so clear that you're an amazing mom, and she knows that, she feels that. So I think like you're just kind of missing that like piece for yourself. And I don't think you should have any guilt in looking for that. You deserve it.
Yeah.
And it's only been 2 months, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Almost 3.
Yeah.
But I just was hoping that I would maybe it's not even that long of a time, but I was hoping that maybe I would feel, leaning towards more like one way more than the other, or just have some more clarity on the situation. But it's honestly just like kind of gotten a little bit more confusing. But
again, I feel like your confusion is coming from the pressure you're applying to your situation. Like you have decided what you think you should do or what is expected of you. Try to remove all that, There's a million different ways to be a parent. There's a million different ways to be in a relationship. There's no perfect way. Everyone has an opinion. So try to remove about what you think is expected of you and just ask yourself, like, what makes me happy? Mm-hmm. Try that. And then give yourself permission to say that's okay to do. As long as you're taking care of your daughter, you are allowed to do things for yourself. And I'm getting the impression you haven't done much of that lately. I'm getting the impression everything you're doing is based on what you think you should do, what other people think you should do, et cetera, et cetera. And I can see why that gets very confusing. But just start doing what you want. And maybe, maybe that will give you the answer.
And maybe try and rip apart that, society's perfect view of what a family dynamic is. Like Nick was saying, every family dynamic is different. And so try to find a way to create your own best version of what your best family looks like in your mind and in respect to your relationship too. So try to find a way of, if you can just sit there and imagine your ideal version of your life, it does not have to be that white picket fence. Everything has to be this cookie cutter way. Create your own.
I think what matters more is your daughter having 2 incredibly happy, loving parents who enjoy being in the same room together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because since we've been co-parenting, the times we have been together, they have been much more happy than prior, because it was just so much stress and resentment, it felt like. So
yeah, try to maintain that. And I can't help but wonder if you just deserve to maybe see what else is out there. It might be too soon to start dating now. It's only been a couple months, but for someone who, you said you're very confused, how can you even make a decision about your feelings about this person when you've already questioned, the raw intimacy? If you don't honestly, no one else is out there. And maybe that will give you some clarity. Like I said, there's always a chance you can get back together. People have gotten back together before.
Hello.
Sometimes it's a great the second time around. But you might need to take a break and see this thing through. You know, you made a decision for a reason. And I think more than anything, when people question their decision, you have to remember how you felt in the moment you made the decision. Because in that moment, it was the right decision. It's very easy to second guess yourself and worry about, oh, what did I lose? How is this going to be? Those are just fears of the unknown, you know, but what you knew in that moment is something wasn't right and you needed to separate yourself. And like you said, the results actually have been fairly positive because of all the resentment. And you don't want to bring that resentment in the relationship as your daughter does get older and become more aware and in tune to how the energy of her parents feel. So try to let go of the guilt. Just try for maybe the next couple months to just tell yourself, I made the right decision. Just even fake it till you make it. Just don't. And when you question yourself, just let it go and just be like, I did what I had to do. I love my daughter. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. And the rest it'll figure itself out. You know, like you do not have to decide the rest of your life today, tomorrow, or next week.
Yeah. That's what my mom keeps telling me.
Well, maybe listen to mom.
I do. Anytime she tells me anything, now I do. Not when I was
any final thoughts, Gypsy, you want to leave with her?
You know, my biggest thing is you're in control of your own life, and it sounds like you're doing everything that you can for your daughter, and it sounds like you're an amazing mother. And I think now it's just kind of time to kind of prioritize yourself, like Nick said, and there's nothing wrong with that. So follow your heart, and if your heart is not with him, then you have every right to find where your life could go with someone else, and that's entirely okay.
Yeah.
I have a feeling when you start dating, even if you meet someone that doesn't end up being your person, that you will know the difference between your attraction to that new person and your lack of attraction to your partner, which again, I get it. He's your best friend. There's a lot of reasons to love the person, but you know, there's a difference between not expecting the fairy tale, but also wanting to feel passion in your relationship. And it sounds like that's what's missing, and you deserve that.
Thank you. I'm excited for that someday.
We're rooting for you.
Continue to be excited. Stay positive. Just tell yourself you made the right decision. Stop second guessing yourself. There's a reason why you made the decision that you did.
You're right. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I'll take care.
Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Thanks for calling in.
Bye.
I can't help but wonder, Gypsy, if you know, you've been through so much, you're doing all the work in terms of therapy. Do you enjoy offering perspective and advice, you know, through, you know, your experiences that you had? Because that's what we do. We're not obviously not therapists or anything like that. We're just like, we made a bunch of mistakes in life and we're just trying to share. But do you enjoy that?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I have gone through some experiences with relationships, maybe not a whole lot, but from what I have gathered, you know, the relationships didn't last forever or a very long time, but I was able to at least pull experience from it and kind of learn from that.
Yeah.
So with, you know, obviously she had a lot going on in her situation, but I do relate to, and I've been there, to where it's like you want to feel that fairy tale passion for someone, but it's just not there.
Yeah. And like you said, and it sounds like her, it's just like she cares about this person.
Exactly.
You can love someone, but not be in love with them.
Exactly.
And there's a difference between thinking about yourself and making sure you're happy and being a selfish person.
Exactly.
And I think sometimes people really struggle, like our caller and things like you did in the past, of even questioning if you are allowed to think for yourself, you know? And I think sometimes the most selfless people stop themselves from prioritizing themselves at all. So
yes, I agree.
it's nice that you've
I
been
do
able
like to kind of give my 2 cents on things like that. So.
It's been so much fun talking with you guys. How was your first podcast, Ken?
It went better than I expected.
All
it was
right.
great.
Yeah, well, it was a pleasure getting to know you. And it was a pleasure catching up with you, Gypsy,
Thank
and
you.
To see you guys prioritize this relationship and bring a child in this world. It's a really beautiful thing. And Gypsy, it seems like you've really made the most of these, how many months? 10 months.
10 months.
And it's really been fun to see even your progress in this short period of time and what you've done with this life that you've been given a second chance to have. And we're just really excited for you.
Thank y'all so much for having us back on
Yeah.
here.
Of course,
It's
anytime.
Yeah,
great.
please come back after we bring Aurora
Love
into this
it,
world.
love
Is it definitely going to be Aurora?
We don't
It's
know
not
yet.
We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
It's
We're
I
still
just
deciding.
start calling her that and seeing
See
if
how it
it
fits.
See if it rolls
See if it
off
works.
the
You can
top.
always audible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
One of Kim's sisters, as you know her, changed her mind
Yeah.
after
We
a while.
went from wolf to air.
Yeah.
Kylie did. So
Okay.
Wait,
No.
what?
Yeah.
Kylie Jenner, she had a baby boy and didn't know the name. And then she was like, Wolf. And then a few months later was like, that's not,
Not
I
it.
hate that.
That's
So
not
I
it.
changed
No, I
it.
didn't know
She went
that.
with air.
Okay.
Air. Like A-I-R? Okay.
AIRE.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh,
Okay.
pretty.
Yeah.
Very unique.
Nice.
Aurora is very beautiful. All
Well,
right.
thank y'all for having
we really
us on
appreciate
here.
it. Yeah, such a pleasure. Hope you can come back again. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to Gypsy and Ken. If you're for first time listening in, be sure to subscribe. Tell your friends all about our show. We're on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So yeah, we're here all the time. Tune in. We are back tomorrow for another episode of Reality Recap. It will be a lot of fun. Charles, your favorite Golden Bachelor, is with us, plus so much more to get into. Thanks, Gypsy and Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.